See!
How we the lads? Hello guys and girls, welcome back to some more Call of Duty action. We are back again in the realms of South Africa. And I'm not alone this evening. I've got my handsome bearded comrade with me, Mr. Pablo Casts. And yeah, we've got another game, Pablo, where we don't really know anything about the players. So we sit back and say, right, South Africa, it's all on you. Oh, 1 second, Pabs, hang on. It's not picking up your audio. Yeah, 1 second, I think. I'll get you. Hang on, give us a second, Right, talk. There you go, we got you. Hello. I got you back.
Mate, honestly, it was probably for the best because I just realised that I was loading back into a game, so I was like, I must escape now. But no, you know, it's beautiful to be back in the lands of South Africa, but I'm even more beautiful to be back casting over to players we don't know, so that we can start to expand our database of knowledge as such, and start to, you know, get a good understanding of this community and its talent. So yeah, we know we love a blank slate when it comes to it. And obviously with these two teams as well, xOne ESports, thank you for the correction earlier on, my dear man, and Dogs of War Black, and 8 players that we've never ever come across before, and one with a fantastic name as well.
Yeah, one. Right, so this isn't going to be us taking the mickey out of a name, right? I've been told that apparently it is pronounced TTs. Whether or not the kind of the excitement will get the better of us in a game, and we might call him Titties, I am still going to wait to have to see that, but we'll try our best to pronounce it TTs, which I've been told by Sarah it does actually mean tits in Afrikaans. So I don't know. We'll have to see anyways. But xOne Esports, consisting of Beyond Cricket Season, TTs, and Black, and then DOW Black, or Dogs of War Black, going to be Magic's, Mighty, Rhythms, and is it Rios? I think I want to say Rios or Rios.
Rios, good.
We'll go with Rios anyway. But yeah, a blank canvas again for us, Pablo. The last time we cast, we got a couple of names that came through. I think Titan was one of them that come up last time. I think when we cast over a different team. So
Slime and Titan.
That was the one. Yeah, the two players that stood out last time for us. But we're again in a position where we got 8 brand new players, and again we'll just be kind of cherry picking the occasional player that we might have a look at, because I've been told that this might be a decent game. that we're about to see here.
Well, I mean, all we can hope is that Titties goes big and bouncy as well, and let's just hope that the boys have got rhythm on the other side, and yeah, we just want these guys to go off and just, you know, it's obviously something that we delight in seeing, is when we've got another few names to add to a roster of quality talent. Titan and Slime, obviously last time going toe-to-toe almost, unfortunately for the team that Slime was on. Don't think they were able to go toe-to-toe as a team, but yeah, we've definitely started to build a nicer lexicon of players that we can refer to, and hopefully, you know, within the next few games. I know Jacko's doing the same thing. He's casting a lot of South African games, so I expect he's going to have equally a good kind of lexicon in terms of the players that are coming out of that community. So yeah, it's just exciting. And the maps, again, mate, that's one thing I will say, is that the maps that the guys from South Africa pick tend to be nice and mixed. There doesn't seem to be kind of a penchant as such for triple Tuscans and triple Gavs and quadruple Berlins and the like. So yeah, it's nice. It's a nice mix for a change.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, the game that I cast yesterday in ACGL was triple Tuscan, double Berlin, which is pretty much a very standard map set, but obviously with this one we've got kind of a mixed bag. Desert Siege, Search and Destroy right at the end to slow it down a little bit, but yeah, a little bit of everything in this one. So we've got a wide variety of obviously game modes and maps to go with them, so we can obviously have a look to see if there's any particular style of play that suits some of these South African teams when they come up against each other. But we've got, again, another evening of South African passion. Obviously, the following that South Africa has as well. Another talking point, Pablo, is the ACCL kind of announcing that bridge over towards South Africa for challengers. I believe it was 40,000 rand, I think, for the tournament prize pool that they've announced for South Africa. So we're slowly starting to see, apologies, more of this South African talent get a spotlight shone on it. And obviously with the addition of that sizable prize pool, we're obviously going to have some of the biggest names in South Africa raring to go to get their chunk of change from it.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, what it comes down to for a lot of the very top players is they want to be able to make money out of it. You've heard most recently, especially from EU challenges, the complaint that 400,000 has just kind of disappeared from the prize pool from last year, and that got put down to a PPR miscommunication, which is way beyond any. It's got to be the weakest excuse I think I've ever heard. Like, yeah, they just forgot to mention it, but yeah. So, you know, with the fact that a lot of the guys in South Africa have been competing for quite small amounts of money, it's heading in the right direction. This is exactly where we want a community to be heading into. We want to make it so that the top players can actually, you know, not necessarily maybe right now make a living, but it can at least, you know, make it justifiable to parents and to other people to say, look, there is a potential as a Call of Duty player to bring some bacon into the bank. But yeah, this is looking good. Gotta love the Dogs of War logo as well, Major.
Yeah.
And there's some collar that's fitted around that neck.
Yeah, so fingers crossed the teams and stuff are correct when we go into the game, because as mentioned before, guys, with issues with some of the lobbies and stuff from South Africa, they do have to lobby in and then switch it over. So if everything is correct, we should wait for my game, give it a second, it'll boot up in a minute. Call of Duty's just being a little bit argumentative, as it can be sometimes. There you go, we're on, and we'll just quickly double check, because it's Magic's, Rhythms, and Rios. Yep, everyone's on the right side. Happy days. Yes. We're off, and there you go. One man who's got into Rhythm. His Rhythms. He's got 3. Oof. Well, now I jinxed it. There you go. I ruined it.
The case of the caster straight away, Major. Well, it's nice to be back on board after a couple of days being stuck in Bolton. It already looks like the Dogs of War are taking the fight straight to xOne ESports, Major. This is a beautiful P1 hold, and right now they've got the contesting, the boys from xOne finally, but they're going to get dealt with pretty easily as Rios, Gord, and Rhythms look to control. I mean, everyone on Dogs of War Black right now producing a nice early performance. And again, though, Major, the question's got to be asked when you come out the blocks this quickly. The real question is, can you keep this up for the entire game? And that is something that the boys from Dogs of War, they set a pretty high bar for P1, and the question is, can they do it for P2?
Yeah, well, Rhythms, whoa, there's another couple of kills that comes through for him. Nice work from him, potentially a third onto the point as well, and Rhythms chewing through those xOne players already, as he's got himself on another 3 streak, and his teammates as well. Rios still hasn't died yet. Mighty is going to be watching over towards Bottom Church, and xOne have really got to pull their finger out here, because this lead is being pushed out second after second. There's one for another couple of kills, this time in the form of Mighty, as DOW Black light up the kill feed once again, and reload or not. Why? It does it all. Mighty, another kill to make it 5 in a row. You can still see Rios still hasn't died. He's had the most perfect hard point so far. Beyond's going to look to try and cook him up something special. He is going to get tagged up by the nade. But, I mean, if you are a fan of xOne, Pablo, you're hoping these boys can get some momentum going because it is all DOW black at the moment.
Oh, I mean, DOW, this has been a nice walkies for them so far, but they have been absolutely unstoppable. I mean, 10-3, 7-3, 6-3, and finally Rios does drop eventually to a 5-1, but across the board from xOne, I mean, they really do need to pick the slaying up. I mean, Titties himself, 5-6, is probably the only one that seems to be fighting back at the minute, an 88-0 at one point. Finally, they get some points on the board, and obviously P3, they chalked P2 almost exclusively and decided to get set up, and we can see Big Titties in the back just trying to get some shots with the AR, and they are going to bring themselves back within 60 seconds. But we're only on P3, Major. This is an insane lead so far, and Dogs of War already break onto that P3.
Yeah, xOne going to look to try and have to break back here. Rios, though, located out the back, is just not going to want to move anytime soon. There's a lot of shots going into him, but he still managed to stay alive. They finally clear him out as Cricket gets one. But again, the trades of DOW Black are just looking really efficient. And this is scrap time, really, that xOne can't necessarily afford to give them, but they are going to do it. And DOW Black already over that 100-point mark, and already a number of players ready towards the new hill. Magix just locks himself all the way out in the back just to try and block those spawns, while a couple of players try and push their way round. But Magix at the moment is working some of it, as he's now going to grab a couple. They will get shot in the back, though, so an opportunity for these players to try and pinch in towards the hill here. How many can they potentially grab? There's one that comes through for Cricket, but again, another trade comes through, this time in the form of Rhythms, who grabs two. TT's is going to get another couple, and it's nice work there from him to grab a second onto Mighty. So xOne in the hill, but now they just need to try and hold off these players from DOW Black.
Yeah, it's going to be a big ask when you've got Beyond and Black both sub-4 kills, and we are approaching the end of P4, which is something you don't often see. The boys from DOW Black gone absolutely off in this first rotation. You know, we questioned whether they might be able to keep this kind of slaying up, and right now with the Rhythms 14-6, and you know, watching him across the map, he takes up unusual positions. He's quite happy to flank quite hard and just come in behind players, get himself easy two pieces, and beyond that, his reactions are just outstanding. He's managed to drop a couple of pretty easy kills. Mighty with a beautiful two-piece there, as we see Titties and Black both falling. Right now, xOne Esports not really got an answer. They're going to drop to 100 seconds as P5 is locked down by the boys from DOW, and this is going to require, you know, quite the regain, something quite monumental. You look at that setup for P5, it is not just solid, but it's also just unforgiving at times, Major.
Yeah, a lot of nades coming through the door, and TT's is going to catch one straight on the face there as he falls. And again, DOW Black, they're in the hill once again. There's one kill, though, for the man who shares the name of the org that's currently giving them a royal battering at the moment. So in through the bottom is going to go Beyond. How many can he grab? Oh, Magix is just going to spin around and snap straight onto him. Mighty's going to go and reinforce his teammates, but they do take the last man out of the hill. And this is becoming very, very desperate now for xOne. They need to try and at least get the man off the hill. They do manage to do it, but you do anticipate that Mighty is going to win this gunfight. Oh, okay. He was getting a little bit nervous there. And TT's, he is going to be the lone man over towards the rotation, but it just feels as though DOW Black just so very efficient at sending players over towards the next hill, not just one at a time. They are going to look to try and maybe pinch a couple out, as Black does get on towards P1, and he is going to have another gunfight, but Rhythms comes out on top once again.
Yeah, these, I mean, MP40, AR, doesn't matter the distance. They are putting you down, and when Rhythms is getting headshots like that off a heady over distance with the MP40, you think you know your days are numbered, Major. We're literally P1 on the second rotation. They need 60 seconds of time to win the game. This could be one of the quickest rounds I think we've cast in recent times. Dogs of War have come out, and they've been merciless in their ability to drop players, and you've just got to, I mean, is there anything xOne can do outside of getting kills? You've got to ask the question. Beyond and Black need to hand the pads over to someone who can fight back, because between them we're already 211 to 46. They've got 12 kills and they account for 44 deaths in this, and when you only account for around about 37 seconds of time, that is not a good start. And xOne are going to require a massive regain in the S&D, because right now they are being put to the sword by Dogs of War, and Rhythms 24 and 12 is just, I mean, Major, he must be enjoying himself right now.
Yeah, and you do worry now, because all it's going to take is one clean break. Cricket, though, making a flank round the back. Shots into one, looking for the second as well. The trade, though, is going to come through. It's actually going to be a teammate that drops him. And Magix still looking to try and mop up the remaining players, and Beyond going to run around the corner. One gunfight goes in his favour this time. But Mighty, again, still lurking over towards Platt, while Beyond is just going to soak up the time on the hill. Needs to try and keep his head down, though, because there's players coming from all directions. And is this kill feed going to light up in favour of DOW Black once again? Cricket's going to try and maybe get a contest on here. They can't really afford for many seconds to go more in their favor anymore. And, oh, Magic's still lurking up top. 15 seconds still remain on this hill. They can't win off of it, but they're all ready to go on the next one. TT's is going to get taken up the hill, and I think now, with that scrap time going in their favor, and those players over towards the next hill, this map 1 might be done.
Yeah, I think that is going to be game, set, and match for DOW. They've been absolutely unforgiven in this game. It's been non-stop from the start. We questioned whether they would potentially be able to keep up that pace, and Major DOW Black, dominant performance, 250-68 on a Tuscan. Is about as dominant performance as we've seen at casting this game so far. Unbelievable. Yeah. But again, I mean, Major, it wouldn't surprise me if we go into S&D and see a complete reversal of fortune. You've got to ask the question, though, Beyond and Black accounting for only 17 kills in total. That is an insane stat line right there, and you've got to feel for those two players who need the biggest regain. Their confidence must be at an all-time low.
Yeah, I think 250 to 168 is probably the biggest scoreline I think we've seen in a long time on a Tuscan, especially because you don't have to play Tuscan incredibly well in order to get around 100 points, but that was just a bloodbath. It was so one-sided for large portions of the game. It felt as though the boys of xOne, they managed to put themselves in decent positions, Pablo, but you mentioned the likes of Beyond. Was it Beyond and Black, I think, who were both struggling?
Beyond
it was just
Black,
when you're not hitting double figures in a respawn, it can be absolutely brutal, this game, if you can't put the numbers up. And it just felt as though, regardless of how well your fundamentals go on this game, if you haven't got the slaying power to hang with some of these players, especially in hardpoint, how many times do we see it where it can get so out of hand? And that's exactly what we just saw then.
Oh, I mean, you know, when TT's is being milked for an 18-19 KD, you know, on a negative 70 scoreline in hardpoint, you know that your teammates really do need to step up, and that was like, I can't remember the player who was the German player we cast over ages ago. Probably had one of the most shocking hardpoint performances. It might have been a Gav.
I think it was either Storms or Rudy. I think it was. It was the Gav hardpoint, wasn't it? Where I think he went, was it 6 and 29?
Yeah,
it was something bad.
Yeah, we were approaching. I mean, if you consider the Gav hardpoint's probably little more unforgiving than Tuscan, and that getting 9 and 21 and 8 and 23 is equally as bad. But you know, you're quite right to point out that, you know, even if you chalk P2, get set up nicely on P3, you can, especially if you're pushed up towards tiles, and obviously if you control an archway in any way, shape or form, you can relinquish that first attack and get yourself a free 25 seconds. As long as you get to the second rotation, there's a free 50 seconds. Contest P1, you contest P5. You know you're going to struggle potentially on P2 once you hit that second rotation, but at least get the contesting. You should be getting 100 seconds as a reasonably decent team. So yeah, that is a huge regain needed. And let's be honest, Berlin S&D is not the friendliest of places to try and do this on, especially when you're up against a team who is slaying as heavy as that.
I mean, one thing that I will flag up, and something that we mentioned quite very frequently, should I say, is kind of search and destroy. If you're struggling on a respawn, it's very difficult to kind of hit a regain when everyone is playing so quickly. But it wouldn't surprise me here if we get a position where those players can just slow it down, even if you just have to kind of sit in a corner just to play for a pick or a single kill. Because I mean, they struggle to get double figures in that one, and in a hard point, if you're not getting double figures, I mean, it's absolutely brutal. So we'll have to see how they get on in map number 2. But yeah, the likes of kind of Beyond and Black on a search and destroy, you can slow it down, play a corner, even if you're just playing a really like ratty corner just to get a pick. You never know, it might grant you a first blood and a sizable advantage in the next round.
Honestly, my first request is to change guns. Like, if I'm doing that badly, I'll be like, I might move to AR. Can someone pick up the SMG just for a little bit? It's not gonna. We're not playing well anyway. It's not gonna impact. You know, it's not gonna impact us any more negatively. First blood, though, as we do head back to this Berlin S&D, is gonna go the way of Dogs of War. It is gonna be Magic who drops on Cricket, but the trades out as Riot Squad gets dropped and the fight goes on. We start to see that as we do see Cricket also fall. It is going to be a 2v2 major as we hit that 30-second mark.
But Rhythms is doing the big brain plays out the back. He's got eyes on Bomb. He's got to be careful though. Oh, they know where he is now. When are they going to try and stick the defuse? You can see TT's is just absolutely running at him. Oh, the sniper, is it going to be enough? No, it's not. And there's going to be 3 kills right on the board here. for arguably one of the best names that we've cast over in TTs. And xOne, well, there you go, Pablo. This is Vanguard. You can have a brutal map one, and then all of a sudden, 3 kills go in the favour of xOne, and they look very solid in the search all of a sudden, but it is early days still.
Yeah, let's be honest, the complacency coming out of the Dogs of War there as they come out of that hard point with their tails way too high, challenging with the sniper. I mean, it's all he's got, but I mean, handgun would probably be at that distance the preferable choice. But there's going to be TTs on screen right now as the boys from xOne have got to do the attacking round. They've got themselves an early advantage, and this is somewhere that they haven't found themselves so far. So really need to start to build on this, and this is a great opportunity for them to do it. But Major at the other end of the map is that most dangerous of players for Dogs of War in Rhythms, who has got the sniper on hand. So just listen out for the crack potentially as we hit the 110 mark. No first blood as of yet, and Black has made his way towards that A-bomb site.
Yeah, he's just waiting around the corner at the moment. Magix has 2 players right below him. And with the call that nobody's crossed over, they are just going to play this over towards the A side. But there's a few players on the side of xOne that are going to push this. Rios, though, is going to grab the first blood. You can see TT's. He's going to have a few of them here. There's going to be a couple. Oh, my goodness. And like a kid in the candy shop, he doesn't know where to look. And he gets shot in the back, made to punish. And absolutely a position where he should have at least pick up 1 kill. Now leaves Cricket, the last man up. He's going to get 1 kill. He's going to get a second as well. There is a man underneath him here. And oh, not quite enough. And the boys of DOW Black are going to get around on the board and tie up. But an opportunity there for xOne with that flank round the back from TT's. But unfortunately, just wasn't able to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, you've got to give him the question that TT's got a little bit excited there. And he ends up getting slapped and pinched at the same time, and it's going to cost him big because it was a 2-piece that he was going to be able to get. No, I just can't help myself. I'm such a child. But yeah, I mean, ultimately he got a little bit lost there, and he was, you know, 2-man able to get potentially a 2-piece that would have allowed xOne to get that little bit of bomb control, bomb site control. We do see Rhythms again trying to get that really difficult cross snipe. It is going to give them a little bit of information though, so they're going to see they know players are already making away. Mighty does get that first blood though. So it is going to be a 3v4 as we hit that 110 mark. Magic still with bomb and still undecided about which site to head over to. And Major, nice bit of aggressive play from Cricket, who's decided to push right up into that B-bomb site.
Oh, yeah. And Magix is getting tagged up from everywhere. So nice work. It looks as though it's now going to be down to Rhythms to maybe try and make a bit of a play. He is going to be located so far away from his teammate, though. Beyond is going to spot Rios over towards this right-hand side. But now the next pick has to be in favour of DOW feel in this one, especially if Rhythms with the sniper is going to be left up on his lonesome. He's going to have a gunfight any second now. Oh my goodness, the timing is absolutely criminal. Rios is going to manage to get a pick, and there's another one now for Rhythms. So all of a sudden, Cricket is inside the site. I don't think they know where he is, but he is all alone. Rios is going to retrieve bomb, and it looks as though they're going to head over towards this B site with only 20 seconds left. Cricket, oh, the timing on this. I think he's going to try and assume that they're over towards the other side, and they're inside the site. Cricket is off to the complete opposite end of the map. This bomb's going to go down, and now he's going to completely do a U-turn and head back towards the site that he's just left.
There is a story there to be told, guys. If you are sat in bomb site, potentially just, you know, just sit and wait, because they're going to plant it somewhere. You can make your transition once it's been planted, and right there, he's missed a beautiful opportunity for potentially at least 1 kill, 1 surprise kill. He's made himself a bit of a flank here. He's going to try and get around, but this is going to be very, very tricky. He's got to have quick reactions. He's going to get dealt with a little bit, and he's going to get tagged up by both players as he enters the bomb site. And DOW going to win that offensive round. And Major, rather worryingly for xOne Esports, they've taken a 1-round advantage.
Rios. Good set of kills in that round from him, and now him and his team take the lead. So it's going to be a position now where xOne find themselves on the back foot once again after a decent start. It has just started to run away from them a little bit here. Rhythms still sticking with the sniper for now. We'll see if he can manage to make any big plays out of it. It looks as though the boys on xOne are going to try and run this bomb down towards the A site. So 2 of those players already going to be pretty negligent over towards that B site. And there is just going to be Magix inside the hill. So there's a lot of players ready for him round the corner if he decides to try and peek this. Here they come. He's playing it so patiently though. There's one for him. How many more can he get? There's one. Oh, he can't get the second. The trade's a lot better this time from the boys of xOne. Rhythm, so at the back, there's the glint. Oh, crack, and there's your head gone. Cricket goes down into the next round. He goes, and the bomb is down in a really awkward spot.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty difficult for xOne to regain rhythms with a really nice amount of control with that sniper. And with support in mid
Oh,
from
man.
Mighty, this is going to be very difficult rhythms. Just adds to his tally of us. Whoa, he's on a 4 streak right now, and that's going to be TT's inside the bomb site. Manages to get a pick. It's going to bring this back to a 1v2, but again, it's going to be very difficult. His best option potentially might be to try and deal with rhythm and that sniper, but again, he's going to potentially look to peak. I think he's going to have an opportunity now, but it's going to be Rios Gord who makes up again another kill towards the end of the round like he did in the previous one, and a major 3-1 in this round, already starting to slip away from the team in purple who desperately need a regain.
Yeah, TT's a interesting play to try and push it round through fire, but potentially one that he doesn't really need to make. He's obviously retrieved the bomb, and when you start running through the position where you realise that sniper's located, odds are Rhythms probably didn't move in that situation, so to push out the back is a bit of a risky play, and unfortunately there, his teammate in Rios was just watching and guarding him. And Rhythms off the start here. Ooh, it does get a bit of information. Meanwhile, though, his teammates, they are going to run this bomb over towards the B site. There is going to be a bit of a clash here for a few players. Rios is going to be spotted. I'm surprised. It might just be the top of the site that's stopping TTs from spotting Rios out the back. They still haven't spotted each other. Hello. There you go. Oh, a couple of shots in. TTs is going to be forced to back down. And now, look at those players I pounded on the minimap. They're going all the way round the back. And if they hit this correctly and smart enough, they might actually be able to make this one work.
Yeah, they have. I think it really does come down to number 6 in black just playing this really smartly, and it is going to be the support there from beyond. He gets the pick on the player who might be able to make things difficult, but we're going to see Magic, so it's just going to change his transition. He did look like he was going to push through mid, but he gets tagged up, and that's going to drop bomb. Great work from beyond there, who's played immeasurably better than Hardpoint. It is going to be Rios on his own in a 1v2, so another brilliant opportunity for xOne to bring this back with 28 seconds remaining. They're going to force him to try and pick a bomb site here, so nice opportunity. You can see number 8 in cricket's not budging from that bomb site ever. He's learned his lesson there. The bomb's going to go down towards A. And 44 seconds remaining. It is going to be a 2v1. There's going to be a clash straight away. It's going to be Rios who gets dealt with, and that means that the bomb is going to get defused. So TT's manages to go big 6 and 3. He's on a 2 streak, and he's going to get that bomb defused.
So another round on the ball for xOne, and an important one, because if it goes to 4-1, you do start to worry for them. The hard point got away from them very, very quickly. They are just holding on, though, in this search and destroy. 3-2 now. The difference standing out one round, and that man, the one who we could provide puns for days on, TTs at the moment, is really carrying them currently, just in terms of I'd say just getting picks, just getting kills. Currently 6 and 3, doing some work for his boys, and they're going to need pretty much that consistently across the board from him, Pablo. We flagged up Beyond and Black for struggling in the respawn. They're kind of doing all right at the moment in the search, but this man TTs is definitely leading the charge for them at the moment and kind of making those big moments and big plays happen for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pardon the puns, but it's nice to see him. TT's carrying someone instead of being carried, which is what he usually is, isn't it? But right now he's 6 and 3 and brought them back to within one round. And DOW at times do look a bit at sea, especially when they get into these 1v2 situations. Black with the first blood, Rhythms is going to be there with the sniper, but I think xOne Esports have kind of learned their lesson from the previous round. But Rios is going to be there to get that pick over towards window, so it's going to be a 3v3. Only 41 seconds, but they're going to have to try and get a little bit better control of this A bomb site. They've kind of hedged their bets now. Black with another big kill. It's forced Rhythms to become a little bit more aggressive, and this might work in the favour. Cricket with that information decides to back up. Really unusual play, and now Rhythms is last alive, and with 24 seconds remaining. I think the confidence out of xOne to push this is going to be there, but that's going to be a big kill, Major, as he brings this back to a 1v2.
Yeah, he's only got 16 seconds, so he's got to absolutely leg it. He is just going to run at Black, though. We'll get one pick, but now all that TTs has to do is just play the time, just check the bomb. I'm pretty sure that's what he's done, and Rhythms just realising that he can't get the defuse. He's just going to go on the hunt, potentially for another kill. TTs, though, is on a 3 streak. Now make it a 4, so a little bit of a shining light at the end of the tunnel here in map number 2 for xOne. They tie it back up once again, and they've got their man on a 4 streak, but the man they've got to try and keep alive is going to be... Oh, you say you got to get the door? Oh, welcome to casting with Pabs. Maybe he's got something. Maybe a pair of TTs has arrived at the doors for him. Can't turn it down. But anyway, round number 7. xOne tie it back up. 3 rounds apiece now. A lot better from them. And this man on your screen here, TTs, really is performing for them at the moment. And let's see where DOW Black decide to try and take this bomb. Rhythms Heading over towards that A site. There's going to be a big clash here. There's going to be a couple of players and shots coming through here from beyond though, but they're a little bit wayward. He's not going to get any sort of kills. Mighty with the first blood. And now bomb going down. They're going to have to work the resite here, and I think Mr. Pablo's back.
Yeah, I am indeed, mate. And apologies to you. Despite the amount of adults in the house, I'm the only one who seems to be possibly answered the door. Rhythms again with another big kill. Rhythms with a 2-piece as well. One player has been frying for both games right there. And DOW Black are going to retake the lead after what was a hit and miss kind of approach towards that A bomb site. We saw both teams kind of in front and behind that bomb site. And it ends up being a Rhythms game. We are living in a Rhythms world right now. I think he's on a 9-3 and the kill leader in the lobby. So Dogs of War made you back with the advantage. And xOne, you know, it could be a lot worse. They were down 2 rounds and now they're back to a 1-round deficit.
No, that man who was performing well for them did drop, and subsequently they dropped the round to go with it. So let's see what they decide to get going here in round number 8. Cricket with bomb going over towards Secret, but again, there's going to be a bit of a presence here. Rhythms. Oh, you feel if Black just opens the door, he's probably going to be dead any second now. Peekaboo. Wait for the bullets. Just playing it patiently, though. Black's going to fly around the corner. There's one for Rhythms. How many trades can he get? Only able to grab one. Cricket and TT's able to grab a couple of kills. And now all of a sudden, Mighty and Rios now find themselves in a 2 versus 3. Nice work, though, from xOne once again, as now Mighty, last man up, needs the 1 versus 3. Where's he going to try and take this one down? Bomb down. He's going to have to try and work a bit of magics here. Oh, there's one, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice kill. TT's and Cricket now in a 1v2. Make that. He tries to tag players up with 25 seconds remaining. He's got a little bit of time, but he is going to need to get a kill in the next few seconds. Otherwise, this is going to be a very difficult and a nice position taken up by number 7 in TT's. But he has, I think the timing's not gone his way there. And Mighty just on a little bit of a hunt. I think he realizes where the players are with 9 seconds remaining. I think this is going to be potentially the game tied up. I don't think he's not going to see anyone with some of the most ludicrous COD timing you could possibly see. He's going to find himself seeing that bomb exploded. And he's going to be xOne tying things back up. And again, you just got to ask yourself, Rhythm sometimes just he doesn't come off the ADS. He like gets a pick, just stays on that kind of aim down sight and then just sprays the entire building hoping to catch players. And you just feel if he comes off the ADS that he's probably going to get a few more picks. But 9-4 is no mean effort regardless.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we tend to see quite frequently, especially with the top tier search and destroy players. They'll get a pick and they instantly just try and get as far away from that location as they possibly can, unless they're kind of cornered in it. And at the moment, DOW Black, they do get picks, but then xOne at the moment, they're doing really efficient work of trading players out. TT's is going to spot Rios over towards that backside, and Rios is going to make him pay for just even hesitating to go for the shots. And now Magix is going to try and plant this bomb. The nade isn't going to connect with him. And you can see now they're going to have to try and work a retake. But how many times have we seen a retake attempt from the front here? It's not going to be easy, especially with Rios out the back. But can they manage to make this one work? This nade is going to have to be good, though, from Cricket. Stun and nade in. Isn't going to tag anyone up, but the shots of Black is going to manage to take Magix down. The doors are open, though. Are they going to try and maybe close the door here? They might get some good timing in the back. Beyond big. Takes one. That's a big pick. They need to try and trade up these players. So, but Cricket's there again. Big. And now it's all on Rhythms. He's got an eye on the cross, though. How many can he get? There's one for Rhythms. There's 2 for Rhythms. And there's the round for DOW Black, courtesy of Rhythms.
You know the confidence coming out of xOne when they get that first pick and then the next pick and they're like, right guys, we can take this, and then you're thinking that they haven't dealt with Rhythms yet, and there he is, just in fire, just causing absolute mayhem, and he's going to win the round almost single-handedly there for the Dogs of War. And again, he's just been unstoppable, and it's the one player to guess if you're xOne, that's the pick you want first, but because he's been rocking the sniper almost exclusively through the game, they just haven't been able to get to him. So Rhythms playing this beautifully and giving DOW a lead potentially, which they may or may not deserve in this latter part of the S&D. So xOne still with a really good opportunity, and you know we haven't brought it up yet, but there is that potential for that round 11, which is somewhere we wouldn't have expected to be after the hard point. Yeah,
they have got quite a lot of presence in the site here. You can see though that number 4 Mighty is just waiting for somebody maybe to overpeak something, and he gets a good timing. Though there's 2 players in. His teammate though in Rhythms, gassing him up. He is going to fall. Spots one there, takes down Cricketer. Trades, though, again from xOne are just very, very swift. They do not hesitate in pushing players over there. And Magic's now, he might be able to grab at least one here. Black's up top. There's one for him. There is going to be another man at the top of third, and it is going to be TT's. How many can he grab? Going to get some shots to force Rios back down. He does have help, though, in the form of Magic's. If they try and push him out here, that's exactly what they're going to do. And now Beyond, it's all on him. They can't afford to drop this round, otherwise they will drop the map as well. Oh, my goodness, the timing on that is horrendous. Magic's gets the kill. DOW will take the round, and they will get the defuse and take map 2 to go with it.
A little bit unfortunate on the timing and maybe a bit of an overshell from TT's over towards P5. But again, it just comes down to those little tiny mistakes. You know, if he wants to kind of pre-fire that grenade, he's going to need to do it a little bit earlier, or at least consider getting himself set up in a slightly different position, knowing that it's going to be a 1v2, and potentially just to try and get some information before he gets into a pick. Because we know how difficult with the time to kill it is to try and finish these clutch moments. But Major Rhythm, 11-5 with 8 non-traded kills is the story of the game. Despite, a point where we thought it was going to be running away when it was 3-1, we thought maybe Dogs of War would just go on to just dominate the game. It shows us something. xOne have got a bit of spirit and a bit of fight left in the tank. Despite being 2-0 down, you've got to hope that they've been able to bring some of that impetus that they did get in that S&D into the control. Otherwise, this is looking pretty bleak for them already.
Yeah, and now we're going to go back onto a respawn. I mean, map 1 was very, very one-sided. Map 2, they did have phases where they were looking very, very good, and unfortunately, in that 10th and final round, apologies, they just weren't able to get the trades, and the efficiency of DOW Black in those fast-paced moments does definitely seem to benefit them a little bit more than xOne, so we'll have to see how they get on into map number 3, but you don't like to call it too soon, Pablo, but you do feel as though that was a really pivotal map there for DOW to help them obviously see this one out potentially in a 3-0 fashion. They've got kind of the slower paced gameplay where teams can obviously regain from that map 1. They've managed to get that one just over the line with a 6-4, and now they're going to go back into a respawn, so I would assume their tails are very much up now, going into yet another potential bloodbath here for xOne if they're not careful. Yeah,
definitely a bloodbath, to be honest. The sheer capacity for kills and speed and how they executed their rotations and the differential between those two teams was so wide that we sometimes think that going into a Gav control, if you come out of a hard point that was maybe 250 to 150, you still got an opportunity for the defensive side to get those defensive rounds. I think this is going to be a struggle for xOne. I think going into the defensive side, it's still going to be difficult, and we could potentially see, as you say, a bit of a bloodbath. Are going to be relying quite heavily, so we know Titties is going to be the player that's going to need to go big go as big as possible in comparison to the hard points where he was 18 and 19, but we really do need to see Beyond and Black pick up from the point where they were kind of combined for 17 and 44, I think it was, in the hard points, to try and perform again as the way they did in the S&D. So this is going to be huge for them right now in terms of this contenders clash. So yeah, we just got to hope that those two players in particular can just pick up some more kills.
Yeah, and I think now it's just a case of xOne. I think their first focus, obviously, is going to be the objective, but after that hard point, it's going to be a case of, right, if just try and keep up with the slaying. Obviously, we can try and keep the core gameplay around some of these pushes and kind of this teamwork together, but the main thing I think for these boys is literally going to be, right, okay, just get some important kills that we need to, because it felt as though every single time DOW needed to be somewhere on the map, they just sent 1 or 2 players there, and they literally just knife through butter in some of those situations. And on a control on this map, we know how brutal it can be if you don't guard that B point well. And DOW Black, if they can bully their way onto that B point straight off the rip, you are going to worry for them a little bit, because it's just, if you get the man on the point, all DOW Black have to do is just keep him alive. And if they're on those head glitches that we know are very, very difficult to budge players off of, we're going to be in a position where xOne are just going to be fighting such an uphill battle.
Yeah, I think we know that the position for Gavuzu is that the power players are your AR players. Unless you've got an exceptional SMG, Steve Vortex type player, unless you've got someone of that caliber, in general, your AR players are your power players on a Gav. And Rhythm's probably the best player on the map so far is that AR player that they're going to look to. If he's able to dominate the xOne boys the way he has done in the hard point, this is going to be... And the other thing you've got to be considered as well is, at the start of that S&D, he's quite happy to chow someone with the sniper. Didn't him go to the handgun, whether that's a conscious choice or just a poor decision making. You know, we know these are confident coming out the blocks, so don't be surprised if we see a 4-man stack to B just to get it done, because I think they're confident in their ability to slay xOne at the drop of a hat. So, you know, we constantly cry for this. You know, go to B, at least send one player to B. Don't be surprised, I think, if this team, this Dogs of War side, just go straight down the beach and set up deck chairs and build sandcastles over towards Troop Carrier, because I think they're high in confidence and high in capability against this xOne side.
Yeah, and is it Wezo? Thank you very much for the 100 biddies.
Yeah,
some tig old biddies or some TTs. Thank you very much, mate, for the 100 bits. Do appreciate that, buddy. We are trying to connect into the lobby for map number 3. I can't seem to join it for some reason. Hopefully it's not just my end. I'll quickly try and reboot my game. Just give us a second, and then hopefully we can lobby up and get into map number 3. But obviously, Gavutu, Pablo, this is obviously the start of the reverse sweep, really, that xOne are going to need. I believe both teams are currently unbeaten in their groups. xOne, I think, have only played the one game, though, so they are currently 1-0. And I think DOW Black are 2-0. Don't quote me on it, but I think when I glanced at Group 3, that was the case. But we're slowly starting to see kind of the separation of teams, especially in kind of that raw ability. Obviously, we've got a wide variety of kind of abilities across the board. Similarly to when we've casted Val or those kind of tournaments, you can get these big hitting teams up against teams that are relatively new to it or relatively newly formed, and then you get very one-sided affairs. I'm not quite sure how many teams progress through from the group. I would assume if there's 4 groups, maybe top 2, or maybe I'm trying to think how it would work in a double elim, because there's 4 groups, so maybe 4 out of the 7, because I think there's 7 per group. But we're slowly starting to see that that separation. Obviously, some teams have played a lot more games than the other lads.
I don't want to interrupt you, mate, but I can't see anything other than your Vanguard launch screen.
I've just rebooted. You should be able to see everything now. But yeah, I think with a couple more games, it'll be interesting to see kind of where xOne fit, because at the moment DOW look as though they're very, very confident, and probably you would put them in the echelon probably just above them. But with xOne, it could be a situation where they might end up, say, losing this one, but still finishing maybe 2nd or 3rd in the group and progressing through to the bracket. So it's not kind of the end of the world if they can't get it working.
Yeah, this is obviously, I think you know, this runs on right the way through to the end of June, I think, so plenty of time for them to potentially, you know, work on improvements, go over VOD, make sure that they pick up on mistakes that they've made, and you know, there will be plenty of improvements that they can make. That's one positive to take away from this series if it does end up being a 3-0, and then apply that to the remaining games. One game I already want to see, I look forward to seeing potentially would be a DOW against Alpha. Was that Titans team? You know, I'd just be excited to see those 2 teams, especially with how fast both teams appear to play. So, yeah, it should be pretty interesting once they do get to a position where they'll probably inevitably face each other, bearing the quality across all 8 players. But right now, xOne just really need a regain. They just need to settle themselves back down, you know, get themselves, you know, back on the feet, and just make sure they get their picks and communicate more than anything else. I think they just need to communicate a little bit quicker and just make sure that they get the trades in. That's one thing. Obviously, with one player accounting for 8 non-traded kills in an S&D, that screams no communication in the other side. Now the players just not being there to get those trades. And obviously in the hard point, we didn't quite see the stats. We know that Rhythms put up big numbers, but in terms of non-traded kills, that again would probably have been a problem for xOne, just not really being in a position to trade each other out. And I think a little bit of impatience as well. They started to feed the hill a little bit time after time. So this is a good opportunity for them to take a step back a little bit and just try and work on those things. That, you know, I think potentially it's, you know, we might see a magical reverse sweep, but let's be honest, it's potentially going to go 3-0, and they just need to take what they can from this series and apply it to the next games.
Yeah, so courtesy of Cursive, who's starting to do some stats for some of these games. So currently, as it stands, well, at the hard point, Mighty had a 2 KD, Rhythms had 1.93, Magic's had 1.71, and Rios had 1.73. So very, very green on the side of DOW, and then Beyond and Black had 0.36 and 0.31 respectively, and TTs and Cricket, they had it was 0.82 and 0.76. So it's very, very one-sided so far, what we've seen anyways in Respawn. So we're now going to obviously try and keep some optimism on the side of xOne, because we never like to count teams out. But I think this first opening round, depending on who's going to be on that attacking side first, I think if DOW Black come out flying and take this first attacking round, then it's going to be a position of, it's going to be so much pressure for the boys of xOne to try and get it going, because as soon as you're on the back foot, in a map where you're potentially going to be the underdog, you've just got such a big uphill battle, especially after map 1, because you can't help but have it at the back of your brain after that map 1, especially if you're going that negative, and kind of almost pushing a triple negative stat, so to speak. It's just so hard to go into another respawn and not think, bloody hell, right, okay, we might get a bit of a battering here.
It's down to your in-game leader to just say chalk it. You know, as a team collectively, the psychology is one thing. You know, you can have your in-game leader there to motivate you, but you know, as individual players, we know that that's going to be on the minds of Beyond and Black, and they do need to chalk that map 1 from their collective memories and just try and just bring this a fresh approach to this map and not worry too much about 0.3 KDs. They just need to, you know, take each map as it comes. Have a bad map, you know, go back to it after the series is done. Have a look at where you've gone wrong individually, what kind of positions you took up. Was your gun skill a bit low?
Yeah.
Are you exposing yourself too much? You know, are you not there for trades, or are you going rogue away from the team ethic or the team strategy? So there's a ton of things you can do to work on that as an individual, and that's what they need to do right now. Is those two players just need to chalk off what happened and just get into this control with a fresh mindset. Get the support that they got in terms of the kills coming out of TTs and out of I can't remember it was not Magic. Can't remember the fourth player's name. Actually, he's completely gone from my brain.
There you go.
It's Rios? No, Black. Cricket. There we go. Cricket.
Yeah,
the
Cricket
guy who
season,
spent
yeah.
so much time in B-Bomb site just sat off. But yeah, it's the, you know, they'll probably get the kills. They'll probably get themselves at least, you know, 10, 15 kills. So just Beyond Black, just scratch the other game off and just get the kills.
Yep.
You know, concentrate on the little things. And then when the game's done and chalked, go away, watch your VOD, improve your gun skill. You know, just go and watch some of the better players do it. You know, there's plenty of interviews out there with these players saying how they got better, how they improved as an individual, as a team player. So all that information is to hand. Go away and just have a quick nose. But right now, you would say, you know, this is the first time in a while I think we've been reasonably confident where we plant the flag with DOW because of that skill disparity.
Yeah.
But again, we've been made to eat Vanguard there plenty of times.
Yeah, and just a quick update, guys. We are just waiting on map 3 to start. I think one of the lads is maybe having a bit of a connection issue, loading into Ogavuta control, so it should come through very, very quickly. But I think kind of the thing that ACCL has kind of brought us, Pablo, is kind of consistently good performing players to the point where it's very rare, obviously with the division layout that ACCL has, you rarely see one team absolutely wipe another team. Obviously Division 2 this season is a little bit more mix and match, and as mentioned, kind of these VAL style tournaments for hashtag C3ZA that they're running here, you're going to get kind of a big skill disparity. I think we've become very accustomed, regardless of kind of what level of ACCL games that we've been casting, and even challenges to that extent, they're kind of on the same bracket. And especially as you work your way up, the mechanical gun skill is something that we naturally always assume is there. It's very rarely now in an ACCL game, unless you start to maybe work Division 5 down. I would say that's when you start to see a lot more of the windies, as we like to refer to them as. But we've become so accustomed now of having almost like a staple of mechanical gunplay. Is pretty much every single team, every single player can shoot straight. It's just kind of adapting the gameplay and kind of the strategy around that kind of that foundation. And it looks as though xOne, they might not quite have that mechanical gun skill there just yet, because normally we've seen it a few times where teams have got good mechanical gun skill. I think it was the Incentive game, wasn't it, where they were absolutely slapping ES Cynical in terms of kills, but Cynical was still getting the objectives. So that's a prime example of Incentive have got the gun skill. They just need to try and work the strategy around it. But I think
Hardpoint's beautiful map and mode, mode for that as well, where, you know, so as casters, it's so rare for us to talk about gun skill in terms of when we cast challenges. The only time it ever comes up is when someone has either an absolutely insane, you know, sniper moment, or unbelievable movement that's got them, you know, a two-piece that they shouldn't have got, or a kill they shouldn't have got, or the very rare times where you see someone produce an absolutely appalling display of gun skill. So it's rare for us to see it at that kind of level. So when you come down, you do see some teams and some players do that. Hardpoint's a great example of where you can have incredible gun skill and still lose a game because the players have just got that little bit of nous and a little bit of strategy where they're able to get, you know, the 4 to 6 picks required to own 30 seconds or 35 seconds of a hill. You know, it's the parasite psychology of get you 40 and 20, and it doesn't matter how many kills you get, you from
Yeah, so This is now do or die here for xOne. In case any of you guys did miss maps 1 or 2. Map 1, very one-sided. DOW took it 250 to 68 on a Tuscan. And, oh, no, never mind. The lobby has been chalked, so back to our mugs. But hopefully we can get in towards map number 3. Map 1 and 2 was fine, so it might be a case of we just have to resort back to whatever host they had previously, and then hopefully we can get map 3 underway. But yeah, it's a position of struggle for xOne. It's not impossible, but it is going to be very, very difficult. And obviously, when we come to discussing about planting flags, we are going to obviously at this moment in time plant it on DOW Black. But we've seen, especially across ACCL, a lot of players who have started off in lower divisions and not looked great from just consistently playing the game, really, really work their way up. It's very typical that the more time you put into the game, the better the outcome is going to be fundamentally for you. Obviously, with the way South African Call of Duty is at the moment, there isn't a huge amount of opportunity for these guys to play a lot of games. Obviously, before ACCL came in, it was very much a case of you could get a scrim on Twitter maybe from time to time, but now we've got kind of like this constructed league system that allows these players to play similar abilities and work and almost build yourself up as a player. So with kind of the ACCL linking in to South African COD, obviously with ACGL and being a slightly different league, it's going to be a bit more difficult to kind of integrate them. But if these guys are participating in ACCL and ACGL kind of previously, like what we saw with when we had CCL and ACCL, a lot of the teams, you get a lot of kind of crossover where they're playing pretty much as many games as they can, putting in the reps, and subsequently they improve as a result of it. So it's only going to be better if more games are played from some of these players who you might think, oh, okay, they're not the greatest at the moment, but the more reps you get, naturally, the more you're going to improve anyway. So it's only going to be a good thing that these guys are participating, at least for starters, in some of these tournaments. Because how many times have we seen teams get absolutely slapped, and then you think, well, that's a very good learning experience, let's be honest. They've come up against very good players that they probably might not even have had a shot against previously to grab scrim.
I think the one for me is going to be that, you know, you remember the kind of like almost a golden age for us was, you know, we had ACCL, CCL, Kiel League and MCA running at the same time, and you go in and you would see, you know, Tommy Lee, you would see Gaza, you would see Steve Douglas, all in across the board in every single league, you know, and there's hundreds of players like that who will just play every single possible competitive game. Now, as much as the one good thing about the ACCL compared to, say, the Val style setup that we might see in this ACGL is the ACCL is very much more community, so it is more geared towards getting you the kind of games at your level, so you won't play these games necessarily where there's a huge skill disparity, and that will only make you better as well. So it's a good opportunity, and I wouldn't be surprised if in a year's time the South African community have suddenly got an explosion of leagues as well themselves, from people seeing that you can start a league, you can start an org, and there is a community there to fill that void.
Yeah, so we are finally into map number 3, and oh, nice work there from a double kill there from the man TTs, who is probably going to be that kind of leading slayer, but already DOW Black doing pretty much exactly what we did worry that they might do by sending a lot of bodies over towards the B point, but beyond. Good work there from him, straight off the rip. One of the players that we kind of highlighted as maybe needing to provide a little bit more, just in terms of kills, is going to stop that progression over towards the B point. The A point now, though, coming through quickly. There's one for Rios. There's two for Rios. They just line up for him. Oh, almost got the third as well. Mighty going to help grab that trade. The A point progression slowly coming through here. But xOne looking to try and make a bit of a scrap of this Gavutu hardpoint, Pabs.
Yeah, a beautiful bit of play there. xOne are going to have to try and not... They've got to try and avoid feeding kills individually. They do need to approach this as a team, and they are going to get to, you know, tagged up. And again, rather worryingly, that kill feed is majority orange at the minute. It is 23 lives to 18, so there is a little bit of a life disparity already early on at 1 minute and 2, and obviously that A zone is slowly but surely going to take over in Major. That's going to give them over 2 minutes time to get that B point, and already got themselves quite a huge life differential. So xOne already on the back foot. This is what we were worried about. We were worried that they would potentially get put straight to the kosh, and already Magix is having his way over towards P5. You can see those purple arrows just chasing him around. He's been nothing but an absolute menace. Just watch number 1 there. Magic has caused absolute problems, and that it's unreal play. The kill that Mighty gets is largely down to that communication from Magix there.
Yeah, number 8 Black is just located just outside the hill, but his teammates are dropping left, right and centre. It was a decent start from xOne right off the start, but now this kill feed is just DOW all over again. Rios, another kill comes through for him, and what is that? Quick mass, 13 on the board, I think, before Magic's finally dropped there from DOW Black. So, wow, this is looking absolutely brutal now. Down to 3 lives. Cricket, it looks as though he's going to potentially be the next one. Oh boy, he does manage to stay alive. But they're getting progression through with Mighty still on the point. They've obviously still got 1 minute 43. It's 2 versus 19. A stat line that we don't normally see. Black's going to be the last man up. They get the point done regardless. And the worrying thing that we thought was going to be potentially maybe the final nail in the coffin right off the rip, Pablo, has pretty much just happened.
Yeah, I mean, they just look completely in control. I mean, it was awful at one point. You've got Magic running around the P5 area, and he is just dominating, like killing 2 players, 3 players. He's completely free to move from P5 through boat, back to his own spawn, through P1, and then back over towards B zone. It's mind-boggling how he was allowed to do that across the board from xOne. I think they totaling maybe 12 kills. And while his DOW back, I've got players only 3 off that score with Rhythms already on a 9-3. So this is worrying if you are the team in purple, and especially when you've got Mighty just dropping 2 pieces like that. Unreal plays. Already 30-28. This is a disturbing turn of events for the team in purple.
And this is the thing they've got to be careful of. Is spawn kills, and they are already coming through here for the boys of DOW. You can see Magic's covering one side, Rhythm's covering the other. They've got to try and shift these players out of their spawn before they try and progress up the map here. Rhythms is going to grab one. Going to get a little bit messy though, but TTs and Beyond are going to manage to combine for 2. They still have to get rid of Rhythms here though at the moment, and Black with a little couple of windy shots there isn't going to quite grab the kill. He is going to progress his way up towards P1, and his teammates subsequently are going to now start to get on towards the point. Nice work though from Cricket. Grab an opening pick, but one thing they're just going to have to be careful of these players condensing in the hill.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's a little bit better performance. They've only got a 5 life differential, and you know, during this kind of A break, they've worked together a lot better. And I think actually the aggression from DOW is starting to play into the xOne hands, although Rhythms goes and makes me eat my words as he just destroys the team from behind. Unreal plays from the boys, 14-3 and on a 5 streak. And the last thing xOne need is a player potentially getting a glide. He's going to read that. It's going to be another pick. Oh, my days, Black with the jump shot. And let's hope that spurs him on to do bigger and better things, because right now he's 4-10 and he's on the struggle bus. But Cricket Major, they're 3-14. Unreally. Just an incredibly bad performance so far. The words fail me a little bit, but yeah, Rhythm's still causing problems out towards top boat.
Yeah, and we're going to hear a glide bomb raining death from above. Mighty's just going to invest it. See you later, Black. Not really much you can do about that. He's going to... Oh, no, actually, his teammate Rhythm shot him, and Mighty is going to thank him by planting a glide bomb right in his back pocket, so I'm sure they'll have words about that one a little bit later. But Magic's going to be lurking again over towards this side of the map. There's one for him. He's going to just roam around the bottom side of cliff. Can they manage to trade him out? Yes, they can, but they've still got to shift more bodies over towards the point. And with Rios again in a position to watch those players transitioning over, it's going to be so difficult. There's 1 for Rios. There's 2 for Rios. Mop out, chewing through xOne, as he's now going to get another one to make it 4 in a row. Him and Rhythms are just putting them to the sword. This round is getting incredibly out of hand to the latter portions of it. And oh my goodness, wow, another round on the board for DOW Black. Streaks potentially on the horizon as well, and they are now 1 round away from seeing this one out completely.
Yeah, you've got 2 players, just I think one's off 1 away from a glide and the other player's 2 off a glide. So off the rip, this is going to be really difficult and important right now for xOne to try and get those players off the map as early as possible. Otherwise, I think they're going to face a barrage. I don't even know if they've got a player who's already got a glide as well. So potentially an absolute nightmare scenario. Yeah, I think they have used them yet, but definitely a scenario that they don't want to face going into this potential final round. And we've seen how kind of like enthusiastic and how quick DOW are in the attacking round. It is going to be TT's with the first blood. He drops Rhythms, who was on a 5, but it is going to be Rios who gets the glide. So already kind of a problem for xOne, and Rhythms is just going to be sat back. You cannot believe how close these players finally. Black gets a kill that he desperately needs to put him on 6 kills, but Major again, the slaying from xOne is really lacking, and the boys from DOW all approaching 20 kills, with maybe the exception of Magic's and Mighty. And he's just got to ask the question, you know, they've got to go back to the drawing board, get on a few free-for-alls and get some gun practice in, get some, you know, at least start to get that gun skill up.
Yeah, so now it's looking worrying. They've got Magic's on the B point once again. These P1 kills are going to be important. Rhythms is going to mop up 1 player. There's going to be another one that goes in the blender. Black falls again on the respawn. He will go. And now lanes are locked in. You've got Rhythms just watching over the top, and TT's. There you go. He's going to droop even further. And there's another pick. that comes through, and it is very, very one-sided once again here. It's now a 4-life differential. They've got to stop these players from getting the progression. The double stack is in. I don't even know if they're going to be able to get across the point. You can see that Mighty's just blocking the spawns. I don't know if they're throwing the towel in on this one. I think they've completely given it up. That is going to be that, and B point now secured. And my goodness, Pablo, they have got an incredible amount of work to do to try and stop these lads from getting the A point, because we know out of the two, this is the easier one to get.
Yeah, this is the problem we face them, especially when they can't shoot back. And Mighty comes off the ADS, gets the hip-fire kill. He's joined by his mucker in Magics and Cricket with a big job to do, just paying very little attention again. Just not really concentrating on that one responsibility he had, which is while you're in spawn, at least watch the spawn and watch the areas that those players will be coming from. Cricket 5 and 20, that is quadruple negative right there. As you see, a glide does come out. It has been used and it's not really to any effect, but honestly, with the slaying capabilities of DOW, with the map control that they've got, with the ticks already going down towards A, boys from xOne Esports, this has been a learning lesson that, you know, they're probably not going to forget in a hurry.
So, first tick's done. Second tick now pending. Magic stays alive on the point. They've only got 7 lives left here, xOne. Is this going to be the end of their journey here in this series? A progression's coming through quickly. Somebody's got to try and contest it. Can TT's the shining light potentially do it? No, they're falling by the wayside. Beyond's going to get one down. So they take the man off the point, but now they're out of respawns. And now Beyond is now going to go beyond the grave. He's dead. The A point is done. The series... Oh, surely somebody's going to get off it. I think they've popped off of it temporarily. Oh my goodness, they're only down to 2 lives though. It's pretty much inevitable. TT's falls. Black is now the last man up. You do assume that they're going to get on the point eventually. I think they're just hunting for the kills. They're playing for their food at this point. Black is just desperately trying to free run around the map to hope that maybe he kills at least one man, takes one down with him. Never mind, they just decide to get on the point, capture it, and DOW 3-0 in the control, 3-0 in the series. Solid performance.
Yeah, it was nice of them to do the decent thing in the end. I thought, don't play with the food for the next 10 or 15 seconds. That's mean. But it has been an absolute performance out of Dogs of War, just dominant from the outset, with a slight slip up in S&D, where I think a bit of complacency, but just the kills across the board told them, you know, at least potentially 50, 60 non-traded kills, each of them approaching 20 kills, and just xOne just with a lot to learn, really. More than anything else, I guess they just know where they stand now in the pecking order, in the food chain. That 250 to 68 is a wild scoreline for Tuscan, but yeah, back to the drawing board, massively back into the lab. xOne go, but march on. Dogs of War in the C3ZA tournament, and it's going to be interesting to see just how they perform going forward.
Yeah, so there it is, guys, on your screen, confirmed. The respawn very much going in the favour of DOW Black. They will grab the win here in this hashtag C3Z8 ACGL series. In the group stages, though, so it's not the end of the world here if you are an xOne Esports fan, but it was a very, very one-sided affair. You'll see the replays on your screen now, and especially in the respawns, there's going to be a lot of DOW Black clips in this one, that's for sure. But an incredible performance there from DOW Black. They progress through in the groups even further. I think I'm pretty sure now that puts them up to 3-0, and with 7 teams in the groups, they're looking very, very good to finish up towards that top spot, maybe even grab it themselves. So that is going to be the one and only game, though, that me and Pablo are going to be covering this evening. A huge shout out to everyone for tuning in. A quick shout out as well to Buck, Squirtle, Surya, Disturbed Gamer, Spectrum. There's quite a few of you. Apologies, guys, I've missed these. F3 Maestro, K2, Frosty, OnlyFans Yams, Profit, Keon, Clausey, Tobiok. I need to get these in because I've forgotten all about these. Damanska Cappy, Wezo, Durandre, I don't know how to pronounce that, Reese, and Mohansa. Thank you very much, guys, for the follows. But that is going to be it from myself and Pablo this evening. I will quickly have a check, as per usual, to see if there is someone that we can show a bit of love to and raid. In the meantime, let's have a quick look to see if there is anyone that we can raid who's playing. Oh, let's do a bit of Vickle. If you don't know who Vickle is, he's one of the finest of EU's talents.
Definitely get xOne to have a watch of Vickle.
Yeah, yeah. Tell you what, I mean, anyone can learn from this lad. Holy moly. Yeah,
he's getting picked up. He's going to be in the CDL next year. I'll be amazed if him and Scrappy don't get picked up next year. Amazed if he doesn't get picked up.
Yeah, one of the finest talents that EU has produced in recent years is Mr. Vickle, and he's doing it over in the NA as well. So if you can hop on that raid, show Vickle some love. He's an absolutely incredible human. He's so lovely to chat to. You'll see him as soon as we raid him. You'll probably get a bit of hype going in him. So if you can show him as much love as you guys show us on the stream, that'll be very much appreciated. But that's it from myself and Pabs. Hopefully we'll be back more than likely tomorrow for some more ACGL games or ACCL. It's usually one or the other with us at this stage. But thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and we will see you all hopefully tomorrow.